Hi guys, this is day one of the statistics unit, and today we're going to start with some review and then also some new ways to plot the data. Plotting data is pretty important to compare things, but you have to know how to plot it, and so we're going to teach all the different ways. The box plot is the one that I like to use to compare data to each other, different sets of data. And then a histogram is one visual display used to look at intervals. So we're going to start with a list of information. Now in all the first few data sets that we give you, they're all in order, which is very fortunate because that's actually the hardest part. The most annoying part of statistical analysis is lining up the data in order. But this is already in order, and this is 20 people were asked to state the number of hours they exercise in a 7-day period. Some people exercise 16 hours in a 7-day period, and some people exercised 0 all week. But we're going to take this information and we're going to come up with some statistics and some information about that data. The first thing we're going to do is count how many pieces of information I have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I have 20 pieces of information. So my N, my number of pieces, is 20. The next thing I'm going to do is add up all the data. And when you add up all the data, it comes out to 148.5. So I just added it all together, and my sum is 148.5. Okay, so those are the two things that you want to start out with, the total number and the total sum. The next thing we're going to do is find the mean, the median, and the mode. So the mean is the average. Well, an average, all you do is you take the total and divide by how many there are. So the average, or the mean, is 148.5 divided by 20, your total divided by the number of pieces. And that gives you your average of the statistical data here is 148.5 divided by 20, and that gives me 7.425. So that information is pretty important in general, knowing what the averages are. But the next thing we're going to do is find the median, which is the middle value. So since there are 20, I'm going to find the middle number. So I'd kind of go along and I'd go 1, 1, 2, 2, and I'd go all the way in, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10. There's no middle value. There's no single piece right in the middle. So this right here is in the middle of 7.5 and 8. So the median is in between two pieces of data. So I have to find out what is in between two pieces of data, and how to do that is you find the average. So in between those two together is 15.5 divided by 2 is 7.75. So your median is 7.75. Now, when you're coming up with a box plot of data, you have a few statistical pieces of information that you need. And your one variable statistics, the important ones are the minimum, the maximum, the median. So I already have all that data. I have my minimum is 0, my maximum is 16, and my median is 7.75. But there are two additional pieces of information that you need. You need quartile 1 and you need quartile 3. Technically, the median is quartile 2. So in order to find quartile 1 and quartile 3, I'm going to find the middle of both sides of my data. So here is the middle. So I'm going to start finding both sides of my data. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. Uh-oh, again, it's right in the middle. So right in the middle of 5 and 5.5 is 5.25. Same thing on the other side. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. Right in the middle of 10 and 10.5 is 10.25. So my Q1 is 5.25 and my Q3 is 10.25. Now why do you need quartiles? Because this is 50% of your data is all this information, and that's kind of where you see the spread or the amount of difference between your data. So once you graph the box plot, it's kind of easier to see how that data is spread around. So what you do is you start at your minimum, you go to your maximum, and then you number line it. Don't just start plotting these, just the minimum, the maximum. Halfway right here is about 8. Halfway of that is about 4, not about. Halfway of that is 12, and then I kind of go in the middle. That's 2, that's 6, that's 10, that's 14, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 13, 15. There you go. So start with the minimum, maximum, and then number your line. Then you plot your information. Your minimum is 0. Make a dot. And write minimum. Your maximum is 16. You make a dot. Write maximum. Your median is 7.75. Now, since it's not like right above a number, here's 7, here's 8, so 7.75, I'm going to label that on my axis, 7.75 on my number line. My Q1 is 5.25, so here's 5, here's 6, so 5.25 is right about here, so since it's not on there, I have to label it. Make a dot right there. And then my Q3 is 10.25, so there's 10, here's 11, so 10.25 is here, 10.25, and I make a dot. Now once you have those 5 dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5-number summary, and you have them graphed, here's how you make a box plot. Make a line at Q1. You make a line at Q3. You connect the tops. You connect the bottoms. And then you make a line at your median. And now you have the box part of it. Now the box plot can also be called a box and whiskers plot, because then eventually you take this little piece of information down here, and from this end of the box you go all the way to the minimum to get to here, and those are your whiskers, so your box and your whiskers. Now this is a pretty spread out graph. We'll talk more about describing distributions tomorrow. So that's a box plot. Usually what I use box plots for is I will take the grades of a test from one class and the other class, and I'll compare them. So one class might have a spread, and then the other class, when I graph it, might be over here. It means that that class did better. So lower classes and better classes, and then I'm able to see, if it's tighter, if there's more spread. So box plots are useful. But another way to represent is in a histogram. So we're going to create this histogram. It's already got these labels on the side here for us, 0 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6. Now you see the repeat of the 2. We're going to do 0 is included and 2 is not included. And in this interval, 2 is included and 4 is not included. So we'll do that for the whole time. The left is bounded included and the right bound is not. So I'm going to see how many pieces of information are between 0 to 2, not including 2. So I go back up here. How many pieces of information are from 0 to 2, but not including 2? 0 and 1. So 2 pieces of information. You could either do tick marks or you can do a number. How many pieces of information from 2 to 4, not including 4? Just 1. Just 1 piece of information. How many pieces of information from 4 to 6, not including 6? 1, 2, 3. 6 to 8, not including 8, is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 pieces of information. So you can either do the ticks or the number. 8 to 10, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 10 to 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. 12 to 14, just 1. 14, nope, there's no 14, there's no 15, there's a 16, but that's not included, so I don't put anything there. And then the last one, 16 to 18, is 1. So, and then I'm just going to double check to make sure I got them all. There should be 20 pieces of data. Remember back up here, there was 20 pieces of data. So just double checking that I got them all. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so that is 20. So I got them all. So you've made your table, your histogram table. Now you're going to actually make the visual. So here's my 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. And I'm just going to make this bar the frequency. How many? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I didn't make each one of these 1 because then I wouldn't have had enough room to get all the way to 16. But again, label your axes, number of hours, and this is frequency. So from 0 to 2, there are 2. So I go up to 2 and I make a line. From 2 to 4, there's 1, so I make a line. 4 to 6, there's 3. The next one is 4, and 4, and 4. And then 12 to 14 is only 1. And then there's none here. And then 16 to 18, there's also 1. So do I leave it like that? No. These are the height of the bars. So the bars have lines that go like this. Even though these 3 are next to each other, I'm still making the bars in between. This one's down here at 0. And that. Now, that's not a really great looking histogram, so usually you'll see them shaded in. Let me grab my pencil. And you'll usually see it shaded in. A highlighter is useful too, usually like a yellow or a blue highlighter. And then you just shade in your bars. Now what this is good for is to see distribution. So here I can see that there's not a lot going on here. But again, we'll talk more about how to describe that distribution tomorrow. All right, so there you have your box plot and your histogram. You're gonna put it on pause and try the ones on the next page, and then come back and see how we did.